Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Never one to let a passing bandwagon pass on by, not without using it at least for some form of political expediency. Kemi has, of course, can't help herself, can she, waded in on the grooming gang's fiasco. Or scandal, both really, a scandal and a fiasco. A fiandle. She's parroting on what Reform are saying with regards to this scandal. And, it's sort of come back and bitten her a little bit because Farage has responded, but also she's received community notes. Dearie me. This is what happens, you see, when politicians think they're being wonderful and virtuous when their own histories are questionable. It's fairly cringeworthy. It really is, because it's obvious. It's just political grandstanding. But she was community noted on X over this because it was just brilliant. She's been calling for a full national inquiry. Now, others have called it before her. People have been asking for it for quite some time. The Home Office Minister Jess Phillips asked for it but 2 years ago, back in 2022. And now that she's the woman who can authorise this, apparently, no, she doesn't want it after all. I wonder why. Has it got to do anything with the 600-odd votes that she won her seat by over a Muslim opponent? Who knows? Could be. Doesn't want to antagonise the people of Oldham, does she? Not a chance, dearie me. Her decision that she took back in October to say that Oldham Council should make their own decision on this. It shouldn't be up to government. Flies obviously in the face of what she said but 2 years ago. It's very weird, but it was picked up and everyone's jumping on. Elon Musk even is jumping on this. He's saying that Jess Phillips should be in prison. I wholeheartedly agree, but for so many different reasons, not least of which is that permanent sneer on her face, you know. But Badenoch herself, she's seen this and she went, perching, there's an opportunity to score a few political points. And so she's lumped in and gone, oh, yes, we need that inquiry. Look at me, champion of children. It's backfired spectacularly. She wrote, and let me quote the X article she put, "The time is long overdue for a full national inquiry into the rape gang scandal. Trials have taken place all over the country in recent years, but no one on authority has joined the dots. 2025 must be the year that the victims start to get justice." Well, we've all joined the dots. We all know who's doing this. It's one group. And as the press say, and as the courts have said, it's predominantly, and this isn't opinion, this is a court transact, predominantly men of a Pakistani Muslim background. End quote. Anyway, she's posted that. And Farage, of course, has seen this and went, well, I'm sorry, me dear, but... And he's responded, talk is cheap. He said the Conservatives had 14 years in government to launch an inquiry. The establishment has failed the victims of grooming gangs on every level. And he's quite right. Now, not only did they have the opportunity over 14 years to launch an inquiry, they were actually asked for one in 2022 and refused point blank to have one because they too did not want to antagonise social disharmony by pointing out the fact that 99.9% of the people doing this were men of Pakistani Muslim origin, to quote the court. Because they'd have said, oh, hang on, if we pointed out that hundreds of thousands of children are being raped by these people, it might lead to difficult neighbourhoods. There might be a little bit of breakdown of society as normal people look at these monsters and decide that they don't want them living in their communities anymore. It could have led to race riots, for example. I think it's only delaying these race riots. I honestly think that these race riots are going to come because the more that comes out, the more horrific it is. The angrier the people are getting. And of course, there's nothing worse than the anger of patient men. And when good, patient people get angry, all hell breaks loose. And I don't think the government has got enough resources to stop this country. It's like a tinderbox, and I think it's ready to go. And things like this will, I think, eventually push us over the limit. It doesn't take much more, does it? Now, She was also, like I say about this, she was also community noted over her party's inaction on this issue when they were in charge, as I say, because there was the independent inquiry into this, published its report back in 2022, and described it as an epidemic that leaves tens of thousands of victims in its poisonous wake. This was the J inquiry, Alexis J. She looked into the abuse by organised groups, and this is Rotherham, Derbyshire, Rochdale, Bristol, all of them Labour seats. Last year, Jay said that she felt frustrated that none of the probe's 20 recommendations had ever been implemented, more than 2 years after its conclusion. She said it's difficult subject matter, so people don't want to talk about it, but it's essential that there are some public understanding of it. She said we can only do what we can to press the government to look at the delivery of all the recommendations. I'll give you one recommendation and it'll end. Repatriation. One word. Such a good word, isn't it? Anyone who commits these crimes, off they go. Bang, done. And let's not give them 10 years in prison, 20 years in prison. You give them an offer, right? You show them a noose, or you show them a block with 8x6 cell in it, and they stay in that 8x6 cell for the remainder of their worthless, shitty lives. They never get out of it, and not even to see the sun. There's a little hole at the bottom through which every day a bucket of slop goes in, and that's it. They have no human contact, nothing. Treat them like animals, because with what they're doing to children, that's all they are. Now, the community note was that the Conservative government rejected a request for the public inquiry. They also did not commission a national inquiry into these gangs during the 14 years they were in government. Is this helpful? That was the community note. Yeah, it's brilliantly helpful because towards the end of that, of course, Kemi was there. Kemi, the one in government, the leader of the opposition, now asking the government for an inquiry, and yet she was in that government previously that refused to give an inquiry. So, hypocritical? Definitely. Out of touch? Absolutely. Blatant political point scoring? Got it in one. She's not fit to be the leader of the opposition if this is the best she can do. But then, none of them are, because they're all complicit. It really is a uni-party of abuse. All of them could have done it. None of them did, because they don't want to stir the pot, because they don't want to be seen as the ones that cause the problems in this country. But they are, because the people of this country didn't invite anyone to come here. Thanks very much.